And welcome back. All right, time to take a look at what's making headlines in the newspapers. And we start with Business Day.
All right, let's get into the front page. I think, Sakina, you got this one.
Indeed, I do. Right, just taking a look at the Business Day. There's that front page. A picture there of the former Brazilian President Dilma Rousseff, who is now the new Development Bank President, speaking at a press conference at the 9th annual meeting of the bank, multilateral development bank established by BRICS in Cape Town on Saturday. And then also Transnet may not need a state aid. A Treasury chief tells how Logistics Group could manage without a bailout. Now, Transnet would not necessarily need the bailout the state-owned logistics company has been pushing for if it leveraged its government guarantee to raise the funding it needed and focused on dealing with its operational challenges and implementing reforms. That's according to National Treasury's Director General Duncan Peterson at the weekend. Standard Bank appoints Fihla as Deputy CEO. Standard Bank has reinstated the Deputy Group CEO after a decade, that role after a decade, appointing Kenny Fihla as in the position in a big leadership shakeup in which he will exercise more control over the group and have a bigger voice in crafting and executing its strategy. And Sasol's Baloy pushes for more spending. Simon Baloy, the newly appointed CEO of Sasol, is preparing to jack up the amount of money the energy giant spends towards its future, saying that 1 billion rand annual spending simply won't cut it in a world increasingly shunning fossil fuels. And then a few others as well on the margins, but that's the front page.
All right, let's move on to the front page of the Star now. And this morning, leading with ex-judge condemns SA's gross inequality is what they're saying. So it's renowned author and retired High Court judge Chris Nicholson said there is a deep need to address inequality in South Africa and call for the government to change the status quo. He was speaking at a launch of the book Paddy Kearney, A Prophet of Our Times, at the 1860 Heritage Centre in Durban. He said 2 white families, the Oppenheimers and Ruperts, own half of the wealth in the country, despite South Africa having a population of 60 million. So that's how that article carries on. China's President Xi Jinping penned a letter to African scholars. Early last month, Gert Grobler, a senior research fellow at the Institute of African Studies at Zhejiang Normal University and a former senior diplomat in South Africa's Department of International Relations, together with 63 scholars from 50 African countries, sent a joint letter to President Xi Jinping. They extended their warm congratulations on the convening of the third plenary of the 20th Central Committee of the Communist Party of China. So that's that. And then, of course, the letter he penned back to them is what they focus in on. Then, of course, there's EFF calling for scrutiny over Zondo's lavish 2-day farewell. So the recent farewell party for Chief Justice Raymond Zondo came under heavy criticism following reports that the office did not follow proper procedures. So on the 20th of August, Justice Zondo, who hung up his robe after 27 years, honoured with a fancy dinner at the Marriott Hotel in Melrose Arch, with a few days later was followed by a special constitutional court sitting, and many of the speakers praised him for his leadership. So from the weekend reports, they're saying that they are looking at what this cost, and they did not follow the procedures there. So anyway, all right, so that's their story there. Then the big picture, South Africans Puseletso Michael Mabote, 19 years old, won silver in the men's long jump T63 final in the Stade de France. And this, of course, the Paralympics, so well done to him. And then, of course, just on the top there, petition to fight off Mayor Celia's Brink's removal gains momentum. And then, of course, the sad weekend that was, tributes and praise pour in for poet and radio personality. Goodness me, this came honestly as a great shock to absolutely everybody. The loss of Thabiso Sekwane, former colleague here, and of course a brilliant broadcaster, radio personality, you name it. 50 years old, passed away on Saturday. And then, of course, brilliant poet Jessica Mbangeni, also dying on the same day at 47 years old. This is very, very sad news. But yeah, that wraps up the Star.
Yeah, certainly. All right, moving on to the Citizen. Donkey, thank you. Yo. after the Springboks beat the All Blacks 31-27 in their rugby championship at Ellis Park on Saturday night. An emotional Bok captain, Siya Kolisi, thanked South Africa, saying, "You, the people of South Africa, are our number one motivation. You carried us through so many battles." And a picture there of Siya with that message. And then 2,000 Rand for a braai, a Saturday braai. Meat is more costly now despite the dip in inflation, and the bring and braai is gaining popularity.
Sure.
Tshwane is still on shaky ground. The threat of instability is not over despite the temporary withdrawal of the motion of no confidence against the mayor. Those some of the stories on today's front page.
Yeah, goodness, it is. It's becoming very expensive to host people. It really is. I can imagine that bring and braai. Okay, let's see. Sowetan, how consultants milked Limpopo. Municipalities spent 280 million Rand seeking help to prepare financial statements, but AG finds more than half were ineffective, and expenditure shows dire need of skills in province's local government. And then, of course, the police officers and family members of the police who died in the line of duty gathering at the SAPS memorial site at the Union Buildings yesterday to honour the fallen men and women in blue. So, of course, that's we've got that in the news for you as well. Gauteng deadly food poisoning, injured Kolisi in doubt for next Tuesday. And again, radio legend was supposed to celebrate her 50th birthday.
Yeah,
Oh,
a
man.
sad story, and condolences to both families on that one. Yeah. Right, let's quickly show you what's on our SABC News website, www.sabcnews.com. There you have it, and all of the stories, the Paralympics, the packages, some of which we've shown you, and all the other news stories that we cover here on SABC News.
All right, so there we go. That's where you can get the information also from the SABC Plus app. Let me tell you something. We were out and about on Saturday at the time that the rugby was on, and that is exactly where I was watching it until, of course, I got to a big screen. But we were watching it on the SABC Plus app. A reminder beeped onto my phone, switched it on and watched it. It was amazing. Honestly, guys, if you haven't got this app, you're missing out. You truly are. And we cannot tell you enough. It is something that you should really download.
And perhaps just to remind people, and you know, we have a few seconds to just look at this app and what it offers. So all of this, you've got all of your SABC channels, SABC S1, 2, 3, you know, your sports channel, the news channel.
Yeah.
Then you have all the radio stations at the SABC, all 18 of them.
Yeah.
So all of that is on this app, and you just need to register. That's
all you need to do. It's absolutely fantastic. It really, really is. It's something well worth having. And if you haven't got it, you're missing out. Anyway, that's us. And talking to that SABC Plus app, which we do every single day. All right, that leads us up to 7 o'clock, just a couple of seconds before. But believe me, by the time the sting plays and we get into it, it'll be 7 o'clock. And your news brought to you by Sakina.